back to my channel. Today is going to be another astrology video. Today we're going to try and understand Ketu. It's going to be a relatively shorter video and not detailed, but Ketu represents the opposite of everything that Rahu represents. These two nodes, south node and the north node being Rahu and the south node being Ketu, are always in opposite signs. If Rahu is in Leo, Ketu is in Aquarius. If Rahu is in Scorpio, Ketu is in Taurus, and so on and so forth. If this doesn't make sense to you, then go back to the house system and you'll see that these houses are always placed opposing one another because these are opposite houses or signs. The second house is opposite to the 8th house, the 11th house is opposite to the 5th house. These are the opposing houses and signs, right? So, Ketu. When we think about Ketu, the first thing that comes to my head is detachment. And it's not detachment in a way where it's Vairagya. Vairagya means non-attachment for sure, but Vairagya, if you actually delve into the concept of Vairagya or nirvana, or non-attachment, healthy non-attachment, it's more you're not attached to anything, so you can immerse yourself in everything because you're not attached to it, right? Vairagya promotes not non-worldliness, or it does not advocate for renouncing the world, and it advocates more for being more involved in the world, because your goal on the path to salvation, on the path to liberation as a soul, when we talk about vairagya here, or non-attachment, would be to be dispassionate enough but also passionate, and that balances out and cancels out into shunyata. These are advanced like Vedic concepts. I don't want to throw them around casually, but yeah, basically vairagya does not advocate from being detached from everything, being removed from everything, or renouncing the world. It stands more for non-attachment while you're still involved in the world and contributing to the world, and having compassion, having love, sharing of yourself, and that boundary between the I and the other just vanishes because you are immersed in belonging and you are one with creation. That is more vairagya and moksha than it is to do with I'm separate, removed, detached from everything that there is. So yeah. Now, Ketu is not a node that stands for Vairagya. Ketu stands for the feeling of detachment, feeling removed, feeling, it's not the kind of detachment that liberates you most of the time. It's the kind of detachment that makes you feel numb or makes you feel like, you know, dispassionate in a way where it's not extremely spiritual all the time, but it can help on the spiritual journey. That is the thing, right? It's a double-edged sword. The detachment that Ketu brings can contribute to a spiritual journey, but also Ketu brings a lot of like despair along with detachment, or like despondent detachment, just like not having asakti or enthusiasm in anything or everything. Wherever Ketu goes, where there's a Ketu transit, you always feel, detached in those areas. Like if Ketu is transiting the 10th house, you feel detached from your career, you feel detached from, your workspace. But if Rahu is transiting your career house, you feel more hungry for work, or you feel more hungry for growth in your career, or you have more ambition. Rahu is more for desire, and Ketu is more for the lack of desire. So if you can understand Rahu to an extent, you can understand Ketu very easily. So depending on where Ketu is going transit wise, or where Ketu is sitting in your natal birth chart, that can denote in what areas of life you feel that sense of detachment, or where you don't feel attachment no matter how much you try to feel attachment. For example, for a lot of people who have Ketu in the 4th house, they feel very detached from their family and they feel very detached from their home. They probably want to travel more or be away from home, family, right? So there's a purpose to this. There's duality in everything that we do. There's duality in existence itself, and human life is filled with dualities, right? Nature is filled with duality. So if there is excessive desire in one area of our life for something, there's obviously a lack of desire for something else. So Ketu is that balance for Rahu. Wherever there's excessive attachment, the opposite of that will have detachment. So that's where the push and pull happens with respect to our psyches and beings and our desires. We are pulled towards something and we push away something else, right? So that is one thing that Ketu represents, that sort of level of detachment that could be good and conducive for spirituality, but also not all the time. But Ketu also facilitates spiritual practices because Ketu also represents the occult sciences. because Ketu is detached from a lot of singular things that maybe Rahu holds on to. Like Rahu can hold on to desire for fame or desire for inclusion in something or desire for money, and has a very one-dimensional focus. Sometimes Ketu can zoom out because of the detachment. It can see the bigger picture sometimes, right? It's not like hungry for one thing. It's like detached and it can see more. So Ketu helps uncover truths. Yeah. So Ketu represents the occult sciences like astrology, like numerology, tarot cards, dowsing, energy healing, intuitive readings. Ketu also represents people's psychic connection to other realms because Ketu allows you to detach from the material world, right? In more ways than one. And there's some area of life that you're detached from because of Ketu, and usually detachment is the gateway to like looking at the bigger picture in a lot of ways. So you can't fully say that the detachment that Ketu brings is bad and it's not the wholesome, high energy, spiritually elevated detachment, because Ketu's detachment also has its purpose. All of these planets have a purpose in adding layers and energies and meaning to human life, right? So you will see a lot of the occult coming up with Ketu in particular. Ketu can be a very powerful planet based on where it is placed. If it is placed in the 8th house, ninth house, you will see that these people become prominent astrologers, because like 8th house has all to do with knowledge of the hidden realms within the self, the subconscious, knowledge about our own inner children, inner psyche, things that are suppressed into our shadows, shadow work. All of these are 8th house themes. Ketu being there brings a sense of analytical ability with respect to, like, you're not attached so much to one aspect of the self, so you can objectively look at your own self from like different viewpoints. You have that ability and you're able to channel that into understanding of the psyche, and that further gets translated into better ability to be a better astrologer. For example, I have Ketu in the 8th house, Ketu in the 9th house as well. You'll see that people become astrologers because they're able to bring that wisdom and that higher knowledge into fruition through Ketu's gifts in the occult sciences, right? Because the 9th house represents higher meaning, bigger pictures, and things like that, and zooming out and seeing things from the bigger picture. Sagittarius is the natural 9th house, right? So Sagittarius is all about zooming out into the bigger picture than Gemini, which is the opposite of Sagittarius, which is zoomed in on details of like tidbits and like um, zoomed into like factoids and information from a closer lens as opposed to the bigger picture, right? Sagittarius or 9th house energy connects the dots from the viewpoint of looking at things from afar and from the bigger picture perspective, right? So Ketu, depending on where it is, can be very, 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 very powerful, can give a lot of unique abilities to an individual. So I guess that's it for Ketu. There's more to both Rahu and Ketu, but I want to wrap this video here, make this a short video. This is all you need to know about Ketu for now. If there's more to discuss about Ketu, I would love to uncover them in future videos. There is an Understanding Rahu video which I have uploaded a few weeks ago. I'll link that in the description so you can check it out. Always assess what influence Ketu is having based on where Ketu is falling in one's chart, or where Ketu is transiting, which sign, which house, all of that. That'll give you a clearer picture of how Ketu being a part of any combination or equation is playing a part in someone's life and what results it's giving. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the post notification so we can stay connected, and I will see you next time. Bye.